Elizabeth.
You got to be careful when you're doing that. Thanks, Brian. Well, there's a standoff over the president's executive actions on immigration. A judge giving more time to the state suing to halt Amnesty, but President Obama isn't letting that stop him.
This is just one federal judge. We have appealed it very aggressively. We're going to be as aggressive as we can. I'm using all of the legal power vested in me in order to solve this problem. If I include everybody, then it's no longer prosecutorial discretion, then I'm just ignoring the law. And as I said before, then there really would be a strong basis to overturn everything that we've done.
So will the Department of Justice try to go over the judge's head? Fox News senior judicial analyst Judge Andrew Napolitano is here to make sense of this for us. So
this is
you are
a
not
lot
just
to make sense of, and he's just complicated it immeasurably by the statements he made last night, but basically telling us he's going to do whatever he can to try and get away with, around, over, and avoid the judge's order, because the Justice Department is not happy with this judge, that he enforced the Constitution, and they've asked him to reconsider his decision, and he's taking 10 days to do so, and they demanded that he reconsider it right away, and threatened to go to a higher court to have the higher court order him to reconsider on their schedule. This is almost out of control.
Well, at the same time, really sort of a slap in the face to the judicial system here.
Yes.
Just one federal judge.
Well, when the president says that, he's obviously trying to demean it. Now, look, in fairness to the president, when the judge does what you don't want him to do, you consider him a judicial activist. Is just one judge. When he does what you want him to do, you consider him a legal scholar with courage defending the Constitution.
Fair enough.
It just depends what side you're on here. The president has every right to appeal, and he's done that, but he does not have the right to make frivolous arguments. He does not have the right to try and get around the judicial order while the case is pending in court, and that's what he apparently is threatening to do.
Where do agents on the border, where do those that are in positions of authority, where do they side right now when this case is lingering?
Well, they work for him. And he's basically saying to them, as I understood what he said last night, if a family shows up at the border, unless the parents are felons, you're supposed to let them in. Now, that is not the law.
Right.
He is basically refusing to enforce the law. He took an oath both times he became president to enforce the law faithfully. The reason the framers put the word faithfully in the oath is to remind presidents they may have to enforce laws that they disagree with. It's not their job to write the law, it's their job to enforce the law. This president has presumed to write and rewrite the law. That's not me, though I agree with what I'm saying. That's what the federal judge in Texas found.
Where do we go from here?
Well, they're going to go to an appeals court in New Orleans. If the appeals court interferes, then we have to be guided by what the appeals court says. If the appeals court does not interfere, then the case is back in Texas. Elizabeth, it'll take 2 years for this to be resolved, and by that time, President Obama will no longer be the president, and his executive orders will not have any effect.
Wow. But a huge effect on this nation. Judge Andrew Napolitano,
yes,
thank you
yes.
for your insight.
Yep.